Hello and welcome to a video with me, Raindale. And today we are tackling a very different subject from usual. We're not actually going game, and it's not going to be all about War of the Vision as a game, but rather the human experience that it can bring. And Gacha games in general are very interesting because they offer us games that evolve over time and that continue bringing us new content. But in exchange for that, there is the idea of pulling, the idea of gacha in general, and that means that there is a part of fear and anxiety in our relationships with the game, and that's not always healthy. So I want to dive in today and discuss fear of missing out, and then thought processes to ensure that you don't actually feel anxiety about the game, but rather enjoy it like we all should, right? We're not playing games to feel negative emotions. So that's the whole topic today. So I've brought my thought process down into 4 steps that I think sum up my approach to these kind of games. And I just want to say I'm not a psychologist. I'm just another gamer sharing his experience with this kind of game. I have spent a little bit too much on these kind of games in the past. Now I think I've got these things under control. And yeah, I just want to share my experience, and hopefully if you do have some negative feelings like fear of missing out and other things, this might help you. So the first thing, what is fear of missing out, or FOMO? It's a rather popular acronym used now to represent the anxiety related to the concept that others might be having more fun than you are. And specifically in Gacha, it's often used with the idea of I don't want to miss out on something, right? Be it a new unit, a new vision card in War of the Vision, or even content or pieces of equipment, right? It's the anxiety related to the fact that you might not have it when it would come in handy and then regret your decisions in the past. So how do you make sure that you maintain a good relationship with the game and you don't have more stress than you actually have fun? And anxiety can be a good thing. If you're anxious about something because you're eager for it to happen, it's very different than being anxious for something because you're afraid that the worst case scenario will happen. So I guess the first trick on my list is know why you play. And what do I mean by know why you play? Well, it's pretty simple. Are you in there just to have casual fun? Or are you in there to be competitive? Are you playing War of the Vision because you want to hit top 100 arena every time? Or are you here because you're a waifu collector and trying to have fun building a couple units on the side, right? No matter what your objective playing the game is, I think it's good to do this little exercise and just know, why do you want to play? For example, myself, I'm playing this game because I'm having fun with the gameplay, and I want to try to have some success with non-popular units. That's the main thing that's driving me. And then I also have a YouTube channel now that I need to fuel, so it's all the more reason to keep playing. I am not trying to be the most competitive person, and while I do put some money into the game, it's mostly just to enhance my own player experience and not to be especially competitive. So knowing why I play the game, I can then go with the second step, which is setting your own expectations about the game. And that's really important. So if you are playing the game because you want to be competitive, you need to set your expectations. Are you going to be in the top 1000 arena every month? Are you going to be in the top 100, top 1? Is it only arena? Is it also guild battles? Is it class matches? Right? You need to know what you want to perform in, what you and how much you want to perform. Do you want to be able to clear all the content that's going to be published? Do you want to build +5s of every pieces of equipment? Or do you just want to have some fun, build the units that you want and be able to use them a little bit? So setting your expectations about the game, I think, is very important. For myself, I consider myself happy if I can build and start using a new unit every 2 to 3 weeks. It takes me more than that to actually get around the unit and get tired of using them a little bit, so I don't find the need to do much more. So my expectation is just to slowly play and have fun. I do expect, with the amount of time and money that I've invested, to be able to clear all the PvE content when it's released. I don't think I'll run into quests that I cannot complete, so that would be my expectations. And then I want to have some decent performance in arena and class matches because it's what I have the most fun with. I don't want to land the top 100, I don't care about that, but I do want to be able to stay in the top 1000. For that, I don't necessarily need all the most meta units. Having good team comps and sniping the right enemy comps is more than enough. If I were going for the top 10 or top 1, maybe I would need the most recent and maxed out gear all the time. But so far, that's not been my experience. So, you know why you play, and you have set your expectations. The third thing, and I would say that's probably the most important one when dealing with fear of missing out, is thinking about the long run. So far, basically all the collaborations that happened have rerun or will rerun in the future. In this kind of game, the content that is released will naturally cycle back and come back. So whenever you miss something, you're not actually locking it out of your account forever. You are putting a timer that you're going to have to wait until you can actually unlock that content. But also, the units that we're looking at right now, for example, Final Fantasy X, when the units were released with EX Job, it was like, wow, these units were unbeatable. Yuna was incredible. And then a couple months later in JP, they're still very strong. Yuna is still a very powerful unit, but there are other options out there that are just as competitive. And if you always want to land the newest unit because you feel like you need it, just keep in mind that 2 months from now, 3 months from now, that unit that you were so anxious about will not be that big of a deal anymore. And then for time-limited units, they will eventually run back. You're not missing out on something that you're never going to be able to catch up with. And then that's even more true for things that are not time-limited. In this game, you have the ability to slowly build whatever you want. I did not pull for Sakura, yet I pulled her in one of those free pulls, and now I'm slowly getting shards for her. And the fact that I'm frequently thinking about the long run is more than enough for me, especially since right now, in my opinion, the only truly challenging content when you have a matcher account is PvP, so there is no reason to rush better accounts in order to be able to beat content and farm your equipment and whatnot. You can do that with a good account with a couple strong URs, and then the only area in which you really need more stuff to remain competitive is PvP. So in the long run, you're not handicapping yourself by staying out of pulling for the most wanted units all the time. Okay, so that was the first 3 points. I don't want this to be too long. I know it's very different from my usual video. So the fourth and last point is, remember that it's a game. It's something that we do for fun. And if playing the game leads to more negative feeling of being afraid of missing out, being unsatisfied with the game and uninstalling because you did not pull whatever you want, this is not the reason you should play, right? If you're just casually enjoying the game, you have your goals and you've set your expectations, and then you keep in mind that whatever you miss now, you'll have a chance to get back in the future. You should be able to just remember that it's a game and keep a positive and enjoyable outlook on things. If you're stressed about not being able to pull Yuna, for example, well then, yeah, sure, it sucks. You might have saved for her and you might not be satisfied with not having her, but it's a game, it's there for fun, and there's still plenty of opportunity to enjoy content even without the new and shiny unit. So that was it for the 4 points here. I guess the final thing that I want to say is the gacha game in general, seems to be gaining more and more popularity, and with games like Genshin Impact coming out, a lot of people who are not used to the concept of gacha game land in a world where they can spend an infinite amount of money and still not have everything in the game available to them. And that's very different from games that you just buy, like 60 bucks, 70 now I guess. You have your game and you can play all the content it offers. So I think this kind of approach is going to be very important in the future of gaming, especially for mobile gaming, in order to keep your sanity and your wallet intact. So I guess another thing is this same kind of reasoning can be applied when thinking whether you should be spending or not, right? You know why you play, you set your expectations and think about the long run, and then you remember that it's a game. And if, through that reasoning, you decide that whatever you're looking at right now is worth a couple bucks because it will increase your fun, not because you're afraid of not having whatever you're looking at, then yeah, that might be a good way to spend. At least that's the reasoning that I do when I decide to spend in the game. So that's it. I don't want to keep it too long. It's really an off-Siri, my thought on the topic. I've had discussions with this with friends a lot, and I've seen people have unhealthy relationships with this kind of game, and that's why I felt like I wanted to share my experience and my thoughts. Please let me know what you think. I'm not the kind of guy who usually takes position, so you might not be happy with what I said. I would be curious to discuss it with the community a little bit. So that's it. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It will be more likely that you see my videos in the future. And then have a great rest of your day.